I'm so mad right now. I was recording this video. We're reviewing Seeking Sister Wife, and I was like down to my last couple, about to wrap it up, and then my neighbor's fire alarm goes off, ruining the video. And if I knew how to edit, I could just edit that out. It wouldn't be a problem, but I'm working on it. I don't want to talk about it because you're probably tired of hearing me talk about it. I should just do it. Like, you click on a video and you just see that it's edited. It's what I want to have happen. So now I have to I have to refilm this whole video that I was pretty much done with. And I hate my hair. It's quarantine hair. My roots are grown out. The ends are dry. It's doing this like dumb flip at the end. That's not why you're here though. That's not why you're here. So let's get to why you're here. We're here to review Seeking Sister Wife. I gotta let it go. That it's trash. We're here to review Seeking Sister Wife, Season 3, Episode 5, Sharing is Caring. So let's get into it. First couple, the Joneses, they only had one segment. We kind of get our first glimpse into like how COVID is affecting this production. They seem to be the only couple thus far affected. They can't have producers and cameras there. So like the Browns, they're just filming themselves on their cameras. They have kids home with them, and that's challenging with homeschooling. I can't relate, but I can only imagine. But what was really cool is Tasha shared that in Iowa, or at least their town in Iowa, had a real like shortage of masks, or they didn't even have masks. So she made 250 masks and dropped them off at the post office, like so the postal workers would, have masks and be safe. And I thought that was so cool. She seems to have a really good heart. I like Tasha. She's sweet. So they tell us that pre-lockdown and quarantine, they did reach out to Faith, the server that they met at the bar, to sort of circle back and set up a date with. And she shared with them that polygamy just isn't her thing, which I suspected. And, what can you do? Sidian's disappointed because he didn't even get a date. But I'm like, why would you want a date if you know she's not interested in your lifestyle? Like, you'd be wasting her time. She's wasting your time. But okay. But, they end up meeting another woman, Elena, I think on social media. And she's cute in her picture. She's independent. She's a business owner. And she's been in a polygamous relationship. So this is not new to her. So they set up a date, all three of them, and it goes really great. So much so that Sidian kindly asks Tasha to excuse herself so that he can have sort of a private moment with Elena. And Tasha obliges. She's happy to do so. And Sidian asks Elena for a kiss, and he gets one. And it was great. And Tasha's like, she's not uncomfortable. She has no problem with Sidian asking for privacy or him even kissing somebody. And I really do think Tasha is wired in a way that most women aren't. I think Ashley Snowden's wired the same way, where they really don't have a problem with their partner being with somebody else. Like in the context of like a marriage, real relationship. The way in which I don't think Danielle is wired, or myself for that matter. Like, I really think Tasha is for this kind of relationship, and that's a good thing. So then COVID hits. They're on quarantine and lockdown, and it really kills the momentum of their getting to know Elena because they can't have any in-person time with her, and she doesn't really seem to want to FaceTime with them. So once like restrictions are lifted a little bit and they try to like kind of pick up where they left off with Elena's really not interested anymore. And so they meet up with her like at a park, and Elena says, yeah, I've been thinking about it and I just have reservations. And I'm like, reservations about polygamy or reservations about them as a couple? I kind of felt like about polygamy. I mean, she could change her mind. And even Sidian's like, well, that's fair. That's understandable. Like, good luck to you. What else can you do? But now what they can do is get themselves on a dating app, which I think is a good idea. Because I feel like, weed out all the non-polygamous women and get to like your sort of pool of women that are interested in polygamy, have been in polygamy, like, save the time and just let's get to it already. So they're gonna set up their app, I think, on the next episode, and we'll see what happens. So that was them. Let's move on to the Snowdens, Ashley, Dimitri, and they are spending time with the second potential sister wife, Taylor. They take her and the whole family and the kids to this like craft painting place. And it seemed like to me like they were almost trying to like scare her a little bit, like, how do you feel about being out with the family and a family outing, you know, because this isn't like a once a month thing. Like family is like all the time. And she's like, you promise? Like, I don't think the issue with Taylor is, you know, Dimitri said like her handling instant motherhood. She seems fine with motherhood. She's perfectly fine. I think the problem we might have is that she's sort of open to other relationships possibly. And also that she might just be kind of enamored with like the beginning stages of a relationship, and also just made really intrigued by polygamy. Because Dimitri asks her, like, you know, tell me a little bit about like your past relationships, like, you know, like, and why you want to be like in polygamy now. And she says that, you know, funny you should ask, because my last relationship, my most recent, my boyfriend was always telling me like, oh, you know, enjoy like the beginning, enjoy this good time, this kind of honeymoon phase as long as you can, because it's not going to be like this forever. Like, it's not going to always be like, you know, fun and new. And she just like couldn't believe he would say that. She almost didn't want to believe him because, you know, that was crazy to her. And that's why she, you know, just admires the Snowden so much, because she can't believe that they've been together and married for 10 years, because they're just so fun and fresh and interesting. And Ashley's like, yeah, but, you know, there is kind of hard work involved. And Dimitri's like, yeah, like, how do you handle when it's the relationship isn't always sexy, or it's not fun, or, you know, the hard times come? And she's like, well, Taylor's like, well, why do you call it hard times? Like, he's like, because he doesn't say, but I want to say, because it is, like, marriage is hard. Again, I've never been married, but I was witness to my parents' marriage of like 34 years. And I saw like a real, for real marriage, the ups, the downs. I saw them super in love. I saw them probably, you know, loving each other, but not in love, like driving each other crazy. But I saw it all, like, and what it really takes. And to my parents, like, divorce just wasn't an option for them. I mean, and that's why I think you know, and I'm not talking about relationships where there's like abuse, mental, physical. I'm talking about like, you know, when things get hard, it's easy for people to throw in the towel and just, oh, it's too hard. And that's why I'm always for, like, if you're married and you're going through hard times, like, try to remember like how it was in the beginning. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't talk on it because I'm not married, but, and I think it's why I've been hesitant to ever like get married, is because I know what it takes, like, to have a long, successful marriage. I know that there's going to be hard times that can be worked through together. And some people maybe haven't seen that, so they don't know the possibilities of working things out. Am I talking too much? Am I making sense? But, you know, it's like Taylor says, like, well, you know, I don't see it as hard work. I see it as, you know, challenges. I mean, okay, we're talking semantics here. Like, you know, challenge is hard work. Like, whatever, you know, pick your word. It's hard. And Ashley shares with us, like, that's kind of been their problem as a couple, finding a sister wife who's in for the long haul, not just the good times, not just the newness, but, you know, really working through it. And not just kind of enamored of like, oh, you know, there's this beautiful couple and they created this great like family home and I want to be a part of it. And then like when the newness wears off, you're just like, oh, I'm over it. I don't want this anymore. I mean, I think that's the concern with Taylor. And also because she might be, someone in my comments said pansexual is the word. Like, you know, again, I don't want to use the wrong terminology, but pansexual, somebody who's, I think, just open to all relationships and multiple at the same time. So anyway, moving on. The next day, Ashley takes Taylor for their like solo one-on-one sister bonding date, and they go like axe throwing. And Ashley asks Taylor, like, you know, what's the driving force behind you wanting to be like a polygamist? You know, because you've never been in a polygamous relationship. You don't come from a polygamous background. Like, you know, most people don't understand like all that comes with it. Like, you know, for example, we're all sister wives sharing one penis. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have that conversation. All right, I'm down for it. So Taylor's like, yeah, I know, like, personally, like, I kind of feel bad sometimes, like, kind of, what does she say? Like, she says, like, you know, keeping one penis all to myself. And I'm like, you feel bad? And even Ashley's like, so what? Like, you meet a guy that has good peen and you want to like have your friends test it out. And she's like, well, no, I mean, no, it's not how I mean it. And they kind of share a laugh. And she says, well, no, I mean, Taylor says, like, when I always thought, like, if I'm with my partner, my man, my husband, whatever, and we see a woman in need who needs love and support and family and, like, uplifting, like, why not bring her in? And that resonates with Ashley. And I'm like, well, I'm all about, like, uplifting women and being helpful and supportive, but I don't, why does penis enter into that? I didn't mean it that way. You know what I mean? I didn't mean it that way. But then Taylor's like, well, speaking of the peen, I talked with Chrissy and we've already worked out the D schedule. The dick schedule. I mean, they keep saying the D schedule. I don't know if it's because they don't want to get censored or she's trying to make it cute, but let's keep it real. The dick schedule. And now she's like, oh, really? Well, can you share with me what the schedule is? So here's the schedule, guys. Are you ready? So Taylor says, well, I like it in the morning. So I'm getting in the morning. And then, Chrissy doesn't like to cook. And Ashley's like, I know, yeah. So she's on laundry duty. We've already decided and worked it out. She's like, well, yeah. So while we're cooking dinner, her and Dimitri can go work up an appetite. And then, when dinner, is served and done with, we can get Chrissy on them dishes, dish duty, and Dimitri can put you to bed. And I'm just like, oh my God. He's doing like all three of them in one day. Like, really? Like every day? Like, am I getting red? I'm not like a prude, you guys. I'm not a prude, but I'm like, is that okay? I mean, I know it's like fun. I know it's like jokes, but I don't, okay, that's the schedule. So then Taylor's like, oh, I'm really excited for my date with Dimitri tomorrow. And Ashley's like, oh, you're going to have a really good time. Am I still red? I'm not a prude. Not a total prude. Maybe a little. So Ashley's like, you're going to have fun. And Taylor says, well, what if he tries to kiss me? And Ashley's like, kissing is fine. Kissing is fine, but really nothing else is. Like, definitely sex, swapping of fluids, even like touching, groping, that's not cool either. No intimacy, like for real intimacy until you are like an official sister wife. And not only that, but even when you do become a sister wife and you're about to get intimate, the Snowdens adhere to a strict alkaline diet. I don't know what that means or entails, but what it does call for is for Taylor to do a 21-day alkaline cleanse. I'm like, what? Because she's saying, because we're swapping fluids, but isn't saliva swapping fluids? Like, no? I mean, is there a difference? Is it like I can't, okay. It's too much. Like, and I'm no doctor. I'm no nutritionist. I don't know anything about an alkaline diet, but I don't know. I don't know enough about it to say. I mean, I can speculate, but I don't want to ever be disrespectful to people's diets and beliefs. So we'll just leave it at that. That's pretty much the episode, you guys. Next week should be interesting because it looks like she wants to move in, like now. Like her trip is officially over and she wants to move in, and they're like, what? I would be like, no. It almost feels like and I'm getting ahead of myself. Like, is she trying to jockey ahead of like Chrissy? Because I think they have more of a loyalty to Chrissy because they met her first. And truth be told, I think they kind of sort of vibed with her a little bit better. I think they're attracted to Taylor and they like Taylor, but they see red flags. They see them. I see them. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the Clarks, which was just a couple quick segments. We start with Jared bringing Vanessa tea in bed. It's like it's the morning after the big fight blow up that happened the night before. And he says that he really didn't get much sleep. He feels terrible. He isn't even sure that Kayla's going to show up later that night like she said she would. And he tells Vanessa that, like he definitely needs to talk to Vanessa, but he doesn't want a repeat of what happened the night before. It got too ratchet for him. And Vanessa's like, yeah, you guys are both alike. You're both stubborn and you're both like hot-headed and neither one of you want to let up on the other, and that's what you get. But, you have to rise above and be the bigger person. And he's like, yeah. And I love Kayla, he says, but she has to want to be here and want to work this out or it's just not going to work. Vanessa's like, yeah. So true to Kayla's word, she does show up that night. Vanessa's already asleep in bed. I guess it's kind of late. And she comes in and, you know, they're kind of just are very kind of quiet and just like, hey, you know, I missed you and kind of sorry about the other night. And Jared tells her, like, I just need you to know that what I need is for you to be around more, come around more, spend time here. And she's like, okay, I hear that. And he's like, okay, what do you need from me? And she's like, well, I need you to not constantly throw my mistakes in my face. I know when I left, it caused a big mess and I want to work on it and fix it, but I need you to give me like the space and time to do that. And he's like, okay, like I can do that, you know. So he's like, so are we done with these jobs? And she's like, oh no, like, no, I'm not giving up my jobs. Like I am grinding, like, baby. And he's just like, grinding for who? And she's like, you know, for me. And he's like, she's like, this is important to me. Like me working, it's helping me. And he's like, okay. He says, okay, I'll meet you halfway. Like if you say that right now these jobs are helping you, then I'll let you do that. Do what you got to do. But I need you to know that these jobs, you know, are nothing. You know, he says this money that these jobs are bringing you is like nothing compared to like time spent with the family. And it's like the same thing, you guys. Like, yeah, it's easy for him to say like this money is nothing because he has money. And I wish, and maybe it's not like occurring to her, maybe it's not like why she's doing it, but I want her to say like, well, you know, it's taking care of myself. Like, cause like I said in my last video, and I won't get into it again, but it's just like, she has to have something for herself in case this really does fall apart. And she shares with the viewers that, you know, or I think she even tells him like, look, like, no, I think she tells the viewers, like, I'm 25, I'm young, there are things I want to do, things I want to accomplish, things I want for myself. And she gets that, you know, he's a provider and wants to take care of her, but, you know, she wants to do her, she's like, you know, you and Vanessa, you've lived your life, you've accomplished, you've done things like I haven't done yet. And that's why last week when I said like I thought she was too young for them, I was kind of like, maybe I shouldn't have said that because I don't want to seem like I am like age shaming Vanessa and Jared, but but that's kind of like, maybe I was kind of a little like on kind of like, I think I wasn't off because she's on a totally different page in life than they are. And you know, she wants to accomplish these things. Maybe she wants a career. Maybe she wants like a BMW and he can't afford to give that to her. So, you know, then I'll go get it for myself. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, they just want different things. Like maybe Vanessa and Jared are just like more settled in life, which is fine and understandable. And, you know, she's just starting out like, and hasn't experienced all that she can and wants to. You guys get what I'm saying? But they're kind of just like, okay, you know, he's going to meet her halfway. He's going to give her space and time. She's going to come around more. And the producers ask her like, so do you think this is all resolved? And she's like, yeah, I think we're going to be fine. I don't know if they're going to be fine. Because even Jared says like, you know, she's working these 2 jobs. I'm going to see if, you know, she can handle working 2 jobs and coming around. I don't really see how it's going to work, but, you know, he's hoping for the best. We'll see what happens. Moving on to the Merrifields. We saved them for last. Saved the best for last again, you guys. Oh. So the episode picked up where it left off last week with Danielle like talking to the producers, you know, saying that she's worried that Garrick's feelings for her are going to change. And what she doesn't realize is that they already have. They changed a long time ago. And she's upset. And so I guess Garrick and Roberta overhear her talking to the producers and what she's saying. And so Roberta wants to check in on her. Not Garrick, but he tags along with Roberta because, you know, they kind of walk into the hotel room together and Roberta's like kind of talking in Spanish, like, you know, are you okay? And, you know, she's just like, translator, like, and Danielle, you know, tells the translator, like, you know, sister, you know, me and husband have had problems and I've had to deal with a lot of jealousy and insecurities, and I thought I moved past it, but all this is kind of bringing that up again, and you know, it's just kind of making me sad. And then like, and Garrick just stands there, he says nothing, like, you know, and she says to the camera that Danielle says like she wants Garrick to comfort her, just like I wanted him to comfort her after the divorce hearing when they were like outside and she was all emotional and he just like looked at her like that was weird. But he doesn't. It's Roberta who like talks into the translator and tells her like, you know, husband loves you. He wouldn't be here if he didn't. Like, you know, we're going to get through this. And he's like oblivious to Danielle's. He just like, he's just so uninterested in like her and her feelings and what she's going through. He does not care. So the next day they all go like on a camel ride on the beach, which looked really beautiful and fun. And then, when they get to like this sort of, I guess, other hotel where there's like lunch set up for them and like a tequila tasting. And so they all like sit down and they're all kind of just like, oh, taking their little shots and stuff and getting food because there's, like I said, the lunch is out for them. But Roberta gets like really quiet and she's just kind of like sitting there and, this is where, you don't need any language. You can read body language. And she's just kind of looking at Garrick, through her sunglasses, and Garrick is looking at her and she's kind of looking at him like, like, are you going to say something? You're going to say something? And Garrick isn't going to say anything. And so Roberta's like, are you okay? Is everything okay? And Roberta's just like, I'm not hungry. Like, I'm not hungry. Like, translator. Like, she can't take it. And she looks upset. You guys, she's affected. It's the guilt. It's the guilt that she knows. I mean, I don't know. I can't put my finger on Roberta. I don't know if she's like in this for the green card, if she's really like into Garrick or polygamy, or maybe she just really is into Danielle. I don't know what it is, but you can tell she feels guilt and she doesn't want to be dishonest and she doesn't want to lie. So much so that she's like getting emotional. So she's talking to the translator app and Garrick just kind of like looking at her like, like, what are you going to do? And then she gives it to Danielle. And here we go. Danielle reads like, sister, I have to be honest with you. The other night when you came over, me and Garrick had a really quick intimate moment. And she's just like, what does that mean? Like, you guys had sex? And Garrick's just like, yeah. Oh, you guys, I can't with it. And I think Danielle was taken aback and she's just, I think she's a little bit in shock. She can't process quick enough, but she knows she doesn't want to make a scene at the table. She doesn't want to say the wrong thing. She really needs to because she doesn't know how she feels. Because, Roberta's gonna be the sister wife and they're gonna have sex, but it was kind of misleading. And so her first reaction is kind of just like laughed off, like, oh, well, she looks at Roberta like, well, that's great, like that you guys are together, like that's good. And Roberta's just like, yeah, really? Yeah. And she's like, yeah, well, and then Danielle's like, well, did you guys use protection? And Garrick's just like, we were protected. And she's like, well, what does that mean? He's like, yeah, we use protection. I kind of don't believe they use protection. This was a quickie, you guys. A quickie that was so quick that Roberta was like, hurry before sister come back. Like, do you think they took, okay, I'm not going to get into it. I don't think they did, but maybe they did. And Roberta's like, no, we did. Like, I wouldn't be drinking tequila if okay, so maybe they did. So then, Danielle like shares with the camera, like she, just as I suspected, she wants to process before she says anything, because there's a lot she wants to say. She really wants to process how she feels. And now she just keeps thinking back on that night, how it all went down, how Roberta came to her. Roberta asked her to come, like, stay with us. It's important for us to be all together for the first night. Family's more important than anything. We're all going to be family. And now she's like, did they really mean that? Well, I mean, I'm sure Roberta meant that. Garrick probably didn't care. Like, they are two, she's kind of like grouping them together. Like, is that how they really felt? Like, I think Roberta really wanted you to come and stay. Garrick just wanted to get it on with Roberta. And now she's just like, I feel bad. Like, you guys she's thinking to herself, like, you guys had sex in that bed and then I slept in that bed. Like, if you wanted to be alone, then you should have just been alone. Like, you shouldn't have invited me over. I wouldn't want to be there in that, like, the basking in the afterglow, but you had me there. Now I feel weirded out and you lied to me and I feel misled. She feels all these things that she's trying to process, but she can't really say anything at the table. And Garrick in his interview is just like, well, that's just like, that's the way of polygamy. Like, it's just, that's how it is. Like, and then if it can't get any cringier after that little scene, Garrick's like, translator. So I think it's time that I have Roberta all to myself. And Danielle's like, okay. So Roberta, I have a special surprise set up for you tomorrow. So bring your sexiest Brazilian bikini. And she's just like, oh, surprise. I love surprises. Bikini, ooh la la. And Danielle's just like, really? Okay, you know. And then he looks at Danielle and like, and Danielle, maybe you can like take care of some business for me. And she's just like, yeah. Like, I think she's just like so annoyed. Like, she's just like, okay, I gotta finish the scene. She's just like, yeah. And Roberta's like, yeah, it's okay. And she's just like, yeah. And Garrick's like, yeah, okay, all right, okay, yeah. And I'm just like, and then Garrick tells the camera in his interview, like, I can tell Danielle's upset, you know, but she has to realize, like, this is, you know, part of polygamy. And so I don't feel guilty. He really looks at polygamy like it's just him taking on another wife, and whatever feelings and emotions, you know, are involved is for the women to work out, and he just goes about his business. He doesn't realize that maybe he should be a little sensitive, considerate, maybe kind of view them as two different people who have two different sets of needs. Like, why do we have to have this conversation at this table right now after we just had this big like reveal of like, you know, the misleading quickie? Like, would it have killed him to, I don't know, kind of like when they get back to the hotel, tell Roberta, like, you know, so I'm going to be with you tonight, because he gets her every night. Like, I'll join you in a minute. I need a little bit of time with Danielle. Go to Danielle, be like, hey, I'm really sorry about today. I probably should have told you about the quickie, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings. You know, I love you though. Like, thank you for being so understanding and supportive. And, you know, I do think it's important to have like a alone day with Roberta. So her and I are going to do our thing tomorrow, but don't you worry. I made you like a spa appointment and a facial down in the hotel. And then I reserved like a reservation for you for a lunch and in a nice like restaurant, like, because I want you to feel important and valued and not totally discarded like you do, like she is. And then maybe go to Roberta and be like, hey babe, so tomorrow it's just you and me. Put on that sexy bikini. I got a surprise for you. That's it. That's all that had to happen. Like, unless, are the producers putting him up to this? I don't know, because if he's like sort of selling, like, because he looks like a total jerk. Like, the sensitivity chip that most of us have, he doesn't have. He's like socially dumb. Like, when it comes to like his wife, like he is not interested. He's discarded her. Like, she's now become like his secretary assistant that's gonna like handle his, you know, business affairs while he's off like frolicking in the water with, you know, his new girlfriend. I don't really think he even sees Roberta as like his wife. Like, she's, you know, she's like his plaything. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I mean, how well do you really know somebody whose language you don't speak, whose country you don't even live in? I mean, I know they've been courting, like, you know, for a year over the phone, but does he know Roberta's like dreams, fears, her relationship with her father, like all that stuff? No, it's just like she's got a hot body and nice hair, and, you know, he bugs me, you guys. I can't, and I know I'm trying to not judge him, and I'm trying not to be so hard on him, but he's dumb. Like, he's dumb. Like, does he not see how he's making his ex-wife, Danielle, feel? Like, he doesn't care. And why she wants to stay with him, I mean, because if what she truly wants is like a one-man, one-woman relationship where he puts you above all other women, she can have that. She's not going to get it with him. She's waiting for him to, like, I don't know, come and meet her needs emotionally, and he's just not. Like, I'm going on and on and on. That was the episode, you guys. They're gonna go on their like date next week. Roberta and Garrick, they're gonna go like swimming in the ocean, and Roberta said something like, you know, if like Garrick can't stand up to Danielle and have her put her like emotions and jealousy in check, like, then it's a wrap for her and Garrick. She won't marry him. I mean, maybe it's the editing and I'm taking it out of context, but I'm just like, see, does Roberta seem that invested if she's just like, can just so easily be like, yeah, I'm out of here if he can't stand up to Danielle? Like, huh? I don't know. It's too much, you guys. Tell me what you think. The consensus is, according to my comments, is that we all do feel bad for Danielle. We feel bad for her. I think we want better for her because she deserves better than Garrick, for sure. But let me know your thoughts if I missed anything. And yeah, that's it. That's it, you guys. I have some new subscribers. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for commenting. I always, like I say, love engaging and chatting back, because nobody I know, none of my friends or family watch this show. So this is kind of where I get to, like, you know, get it all out. So anyway, you guys have a good night, and I will see you next time. Bye.